is the end of the third Business and Markets Week in the month of August 2026, and we welcome all our viewers from around the world. I am Melissa Enoch here at the NGX Trading Floor in Lagos. All right, let's tee off with news now. China's Chengxin International Credit Rating Co. has affirmed African Export-Import Bank's AAA issuer credit rating with a stable outlook for the second consecutive year, highlighting the bank's financial strength and strategic importance. In its 2026 credit rating report, CCXI said Afreximbank's high strategic positioning, sound risk management, flexible business model, and strong profitability support its credit profile. The agency also cited prudent liquidity management and a very high coverage ratio of current assets to short-term debt. CCXI expects Afreximbank's credit rating to remain stable over the next 12 to 18 months, with the bank's strong financial position and risk management continuing to support its overall credit and strength. In Kenya, Mwango Capital Markets Forum 2026 has brought together senior investors, policymakers, and business leaders to discuss Kenya's investment outlook. In a panel discussion on capital allocation, experts examine where investment is flowing, what is driving decisions, and what policy and market conditions could unlock more capital. Here are some excerpts.
So the past 3 years have been a boom. It's been a bull market, and prior to that was 10 years, I think, of just tepid of performance in the market. So the markets have picked up. People are more interested in the market. The good thing about bull markets is kind of they tend to create a cycle of their own. So more people see stocks prices go up and then they come in. Our hope, especially generally as we head into an election year, is that will not have the repeat of past problems where in an election year like this, going into 2027, capital markets perform poorly. But now this year, we hope that the momentum we have so far will push us through 2027, that the elections will be fair, free, and stable, and that will allow us to have even better 2027 and 2028. The challenge, of course, is some of the debt that is coming up due in the market. The macro situation is good, but generally, people, especially in the lower economic classes, are having a difficult time in the market. So they're struggling. I don't know what we can do to help alleviate that. Inflation, especially imported one through fuel prices, global wars and stuff like that. That's also something that to worry about. I think we want to make it, I think there is a lot of talk about making it quarterly, but I think an annual one would do for now. We'll do, maybe we'll have something in February next year. We'll bring more East African market players. I think the focus today was mostly from Kenya, and 90 to 95% of the participants were from Kenya, but I think 5% were from abroad. And you can sense the urge or the desire to have more of these places where across banks and across institutions, people can talk to each other, raise the serious concerns that they have, and talk to the market players to be able to deal with that, especially the regulators.
In earnings news, South African mobile operator Cell C reported an 87.6% rise in net profit to 4.16 billion rand for the year ended May 31, 2026, while headline earnings per share jumped 57.4% to 2,337.6 cents. Revenue rose 13.5% to 12.64 billion rand, with adjusted EBITDA up 16.9% to 2.38 billion rand. The company ended the year with 8.88 million subscribers, while data traffic surged 47% and MVNOHLR subscribers increased 27.3% to 5.71 million. Cell C's net debt fell 64.5% to 2.02 billion rand from 5.69 billion rand a year earlier, following its balance sheet restructuring and IPO. The company said the research has reduced financial risk and provided greater flexibility to pursue growth. In other news, the Namibia Oil and Gas Conference and Exhibition 2026 hosted a local content masterclass focusing on how local businesses can benefit from the country's emerging oil and gas industry. The session explores opportunities for local procurement, skills development, supplier growth, and greater participation in the energy value chain. Let's listen to some excerpts.
The National Upstream Petroleum Local Content Policy has recently and finally been approved by Cabinet driven from the office of the president. It is the charter for the opportunity for local businesses. And for operators and everyone in this room, please read it because it speaks directly to you. It requires operators to prioritize Namibian suppliers of goods and services. It demands the transfer of skills and technology. It promotes Namibian participation, ownership, and financing at every level of the sector. And it defines a Namibian company. Namibian company is one that is at least 51% Namibian owned, with at least 30% held by previously disadvantaged Namibians. Understanding that definition is important to structure yourselves and to meet it honestly. And the policy stops being a document, it becomes your competitive advantage. Operators will carry local content plans with targets and commitments as guided in the policy. And literally, our job is for enterprises to understand that the plans cannot do without you. As I reach close, there are just three things that I ask of you before this day ends and before this conference ends. One, treat the readiness as your own project. Registration on a database is not readiness. We keep on telling our Namibian businesses. Ask the operators in this room exactly what standard they procure at, and leave today knowing your distance or the gap from it, and how you plan to close that gap or meet that gap.
Finally, on News Now, Wegagen Capital Investment Bank has returned to profitability, posting 46.6 million birr in pre-tax profit in its first full year of commercial operations. Revenue surged to 140.99 million birr for the year ended June 2026 from 7.99 million birr a year earlier, driven by advisory services, which contributed 89.89 million birr and net interest income of 43.98 million birr. The bank opened 3,850 trading accounts and facilitated 2.69 billion birr in securities turnover as Ethiopia's capital market enters its second year of operations. I am Melissa Enoch, and that's it on News Now this Friday. The show returns shortly after the break with Grace, giving us our market updates. Stick around.
In embedding responsibility and sustainability in all aspects of business and operations have consistently yielded positive results for the bank. The bank continued to make progress on the environmental, social, and governance front. Specifically, we are proud of the successful launch of the Maputo Sukuku board. That is by the Bank of Tanzania, ni Kiswahili ngumu kidogo hapo. Whose inaugural issuance was, you wouldn't believe it, oversubscribed by 302%, raising Tanzanian shilling 30.24 billion against a target of 10 billion Tanzanian shillings. This is a clear demonstration of strong investor confidence and the growing appetite for Sharia-compliant and ethical investment instruments. Ladies and gentlemen, our bank does not just focus on financial profits, but it does care. It cares for the communities in which it operates. Through the work of our social investment arm, that is KCB Foundation, Our focus is on supporting youth enterprise, education, financial inclusion, and climate resilience initiatives that expand economic opportunities and uplift our communities.
Welcome back to Money Moves. Thanks for staying with us. Let's now go over to Grace for reports on how the markets closed trading this Friday. Hello there again, Grace.
Thank you, Melissa. Let's now take a look at how the markets traded today, beginning with the equities as usual. The NGX All-Share Index closed on the positive today, up 0.15%, its first gain in the week, while the BRVM in Abidjan advanced 1.52% to 527.48. The Nairobi Securities Exchange edged up 0.13% to 244.69. In Southern Africa, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange surged 2.24%, while Mauritius Semdex gained 0.12%, and Zimbabwe ZSE fell 1.04% to 474.92. North African markets are closed today. Finally, let's take a look at the energy commodities. Brent crude gained 0.20% to $93.97, while US WTI rose 0.08% to $86.90. Natural gas advanced 1.57% to $2.77, and Arabian gasoline climbed 2.12% to $3.33 as at 13:10 GMT. And that's our Money Moves markets today. Back to you, Melissa.
Grace, thank you very much for those reports on how the markets traded today. And that's it on today's edition of Money Moves. From all of us here at the NGX trading floor, we say thank you very much for watching and do have a splendid weekend.